In the city that never paused, where time raced alongside traffic and neon lights drowned out the stars, Clara moved through life like a whisper. To anyone watching, she appeared composed, successful, and calm, with her routine neatly arranged, like books on a shelf. She woke each morning before the sun stretched over the skyline, dressed in quiet neutrals, and poured herself into the rhythm of work, errands, and polite conversations. But beneath that surface calm pulsed a quiet ache, an invisible longing that no one seemed to notice. It wasn't loneliness in the traditional sense. Clara had friends she met for coffee, colleagues who admired her efficiency, and neighbors she greeted in the hallway. But there was a vacancy within her, a space unlit and unspoken that seemed to grow more cavernous each evening as she returned to her quiet apartment and the glow of her phone screen. She wasn't entirely sure when that space had formed, only that lately it had been shaped by thoughts of Mark, a man whose brief presence had left a lasting shadow. They had dated for a few sweet weeks, filled with laughter, long conversations, and a kind of emotional electricity that felt rare. Clara had allowed herself to believe it might become something lasting. But just as suddenly as he had appeared, Mark began to fade, his texts growing shorter, his calls less frequent, his presence slipping through her fingers like mist. Still, she clung to the memory of him like a lifeline. Each notification on her phone made her heart leap, each silence stretched like a bruise across her chest. She reread their old messages like scripture, searching for clues, for reasons, for hope. Some part of her believed that if she could just understand what went wrong, or if she waited long enough, he might return and fill the aching silence that followed his absence. What she didn't realize, not yet, was that the emptiness she felt wasn't born from Mark's departure. It had lived inside her long before he arrived. His leaving merely cast light upon it. She had been chasing connection, not to find love, but to outrun the fear that she was unworthy of it without someone else's approval. One night, overwhelmed by this realization and desperate for relief, Clara reached for a book she had barely opened, Buddhism for Beginners. It had been a gift from a friend months ago, now gathering dust on her shelf. She opened it at random and began to read. The words were simple, but struck a chord so deep they reverberated through her like the toll of a bell. Chasing has become a way of life. But so, what if, just for a moment, we stop chasing people and start chasing peace? In that moment, a seed of clarity took root in her heart. Clara didn't know exactly where the path would lead, but she knew this. She could no longer keep running after love at the cost of herself. Something within had stirred, and it was time to listen. In the heart of a bustling city, where the sounds of honking cars blended with the chatter of passers-by, lived a woman named Clara. Her days flowed in a pattern as predictable as the rising sun. She awoke, navigated her responsibilities, came home, and ended each evening scrolling through her phone, yearning for something, or rather someone, to fill the emptiness that shadowed her heart. Lately, her thoughts were consumed by Mark, a man she had briefly dated months ago. Their connection had felt electric, and Clara had convinced herself that he was someone special. However, after a few wonderful weeks, Mark had slowly distanced himself, leaving Clara to wrestle with a sense of abandonment. Rather than moving on, she found herself chasing after the memory of what could have been. With each notification alerting her of a new message, she would rush to her phone, hoping for a sign that he still cared. But each time, the silence felt like a crushing weight pressing upon her spirit. One evening, while lying in bed and scrolling through their messages for the millionth time, Clara felt a wave of despair wash over her. "Why am I stuck on this?" she whispered to herself, as fat tears trickled down her cheeks. She feared that her happiness hinged on someone who no longer wished to be part of her life. With a heavy heart, she turned to a book titled Buddhism for Beginners, seeking comfort in the teachings of the Buddha. As she read, a profound realization began to emerge. The words spoke of a quiet power found in not chasing, the idea that peace resides within rather than in the fleeting connections with others. Clara absorbed each page with growing intensity. Chasing has become a way of life, the book noted, resonating with her current struggle. But so, what if just for a moment we stop chasing people and start chasing peace? That night marked a turning point in Clara's life. Instead of seeking validation and approval from Mark, she decided to turn her attention inward. Recognizing her patterns, she reflected on why she felt compelled to chase those who had already turned away from her. The answer, she discovered, lay in her own feelings of inadequacy and loneliness. In moments of solitude, her self-worth felt shaky, leading her to crave acknowledgement from others as proof of her value. But now, armed with this newfound insight, she asked herself, what if the love and acceptance she sought from Mark was the same love she had forgotten to give herself? The next day, Clara began her journey with a commitment to practice mindfulness. She took a deep breath and reminded herself that true peace comes from within. It was time to observe her cravings, to sit with her feelings without reacting to them. When I feel the urge to reach out, she thought, I'll pause and let the feeling rise like a wave. She recalled the Buddhist teachings, emphasizing that craving is the root of suffering. This reframing empowered Clara, allowing her to view her cravings as passing clouds rather than permanent truths. In her quest for peace, Clara also cultivated the practice of daily detachment. Every morning, she whispered a mantra to herself, I release what's not meant for me. She would softly chant it during her morning routine, clinging to the belief that letting go does not signify loss, but rather the creation of space for new beginnings. This mantra became a lifeline, a reminder that she could reclaim her power without needing to hold on to what was not hers to keep. As her journey continued, Clara found solace in moments of solitude. She discovered that peace doesn't reside in the chaos of connection or in the opinions of others. It blossomed during her early morning walks amidst towering trees, feeling the gentle breeze brush against her cheeks. The world softened in these quiet moments, bringing her a sweetness that she had long overlooked. Solitude is not loneliness, she realized. It's a sacred space where I can meet myself openly. Inspired by her experiences, Clara began to express love without expectation, cultivating compassion for herself while supporting others. With each day, she practiced observation. When the urge to text Mark would arise, she took a moment to breathe and acknowledge her feelings without judgment. This is here, she would say, embracing the discomfort instead of suppressing it. Over time, Clara noticed these intense urges began to diminish, like clouds clearing, revealing the expansive blue sky above. She volunteered at a local shelter, connecting with those in need and offering her help without seeking validation in return. True peace is found in giving freely, Clara reflected as she handed meals to those who crossed her path. Each act of kindness reinforced her belief that her worth does not hinge upon others' approval. However, moments of doubt would still surface. When those thoughts crept back, self-judgment and the ache of loss, Clara turned to journaling. She poured her feelings onto the pages, capturing the raw emotions and deciphering the triggers she encountered. Why do I feel the need for his confirmation? She wrote one evening. What belief lies beneath this urge? As she articulated her fears of being unloved and unseen, the weight lifted and the wounds beneath began to heal. Each word became a thread stitching her heart back together. With every practice, Clara felt her relationship with peace deepen. She embraced the truth that everything is impermanent. People come and go, but peace is hers to keep. I deserve my love and affection, she reminded herself, echoing the Buddha's words. Each day she planted seeds of self-love within her heart, nurturing them until they blossomed into unwavering confidence. One fateful evening, while walking through the park, Clara noticed a flicker of motion, a familiar figure. It was Mark, seated on a bench, looking lost in thought. Her heart raced, memories flooding back, but this time she held the key to her own peace. Instead of rushing towards him with unresolved attachment, Clara paused. She took a deep breath, recalling the mantra that had carried her through. I release what's not meant for me. In that moment, she recognized that her journey had transformed her. She no longer sought validation from Mark. Instead, she felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the lessons learned through her experiences. As she continued her walk, she accepted that people may come and go from her life, but her power and worth were non-negotiable. Days turned into weeks, and Clara grew more attuned to the gentle whispers of her heart. She began to understand that chasing did not yield the fulfillment she yearned for. Rather, it was in surrendering to the flow of life that she found fulfillment. The world still bustled around her, but Clara felt a renewed calm. The weight of her attachments had been replaced by a lightness that invited joy and connection without fear. Eventually, Clara returned to the book that had sparked her transformation. As she reread the wisdom woven within the pages, she smiled at the truths that resonated. The teaching showed her that when you stop chasing people and start chasing peace, you draw the right souls into your life without force. Those who resonate with your energy will gravitate toward your newfound calmness, reflecting the depth rather than drama. At that moment in her journey, Clara realized that love is not a pursuit, but a state of being. It thrives when nurtured from within, radiating outward like beams of sunlight, illuminating the world around her. She committed to approaching each day with the intention to cultivate peace within herself and the relationships she chose to nurture moving forward. One afternoon, she decided to attend a local meditation class, eager to explore further avenues of mindfulness. As she entered the serene space filled with soft cushions and flickering candles, she felt a wave of excitement. There were others seeking the same peace she craved, and Clara took a seat in the quiet room, ready to explore the depths of her heart alongside fellow seekers. The instructor held a gentle presence, guiding the class through techniques rooted in compassion and self-acceptance. As they meditated, Clara closed her eyes, breathing deeply, welcoming thoughts as if they were passing clouds. Each inhale invited calm, and each exhale released lingering attachments, creating space for the present moment. In that room, filled with shared vulnerability, she felt a palpable connection, a sense of belonging that had once eluded her. After the session ended, Clara connected with others who shared their stories and experiences. In those conversations, she discovered beauty in the raw, unfiltered narratives of others. Their journeys combined with hers became a tapestry of love, resilience, and transformation. Each person brought their unique story into the circle, yet the threads shared a common theme: the pursuit of inner peace amid a chaotic world. As Clara wove these connections, she found herself surrounded by individuals who mirrored her values and aspirations. Their laughter intertwined with her own, creating a symphony of joy that further solidified her realization that you need not chase after love. It unfolds beautifully when you align with your truest self. With newfound friends supporting her path, Clara flourished. The energy around her shifted, and she began attracting depth and authenticity into her life. Her days echoed with laughter, shared moments of stillness, and genuine connections that excited her heart. Clara's journey came full circle, as she understood that what she once sought desperately, the love and approval of others, had been present all along within herself. As the weeks turned into months, Clara felt an unshakable peace settle within. In times of silence, she no longer felt lonely, but filled with the vibrant essence of the life she was consciously creating. The journey had not always been easy, but it allowed her to tether herself to her power, embracing imperfections while nurturing self-love. Closing her eyes one morning during a meditation session, Clara reflected on the evolution she had undergone. She could now see the beauty in letting go, like a river flowing effortlessly, carrying away what no longer served her. The deep gratitude swelled within her, filling the spaces that once echoed with doubt and despair. Finally, Clara embraced the truth she had uncovered. True peace lies not in the chase, but in the stillness of our own hearts. With open hands and an open heart, she stepped into the world, ready to face whatever came her way. She walked alongside exquisite companions, not chasing, but choosing to accompany each other on their unique paths. In reclaiming her power and nurturing her peace, Clara understood that she would no longer be defined by those who had wandered away, but rather by the spirit she embodied. The love she had sought externally was now ignited within her, radiating toward others without expectation. As the sun began to dip below the horizon on yet another beautiful day, Clara took a deep breath, inhaling the vibrant hues of the sky. She felt a gentle smile tug at her lips as she realized that the chase had never been about the ones who left, but rather the journey back to herself, returning home at last to the beauty of her own heart.